Do people die in the Kentucky Derby?
I'm sure they have. Hey, Siri.
What a weird thing to ask Siri. Hey,
so,
Siri.
A lot of horses have died.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of
oh,
horses
yeah,
have died at the
Oh,
Kentucky
yeah.
Derby.
Well, that's sad.
People, I don't know.
That's the thing they don't tell you is the Kentucky Derby happens right next to that glue factory. Like it's just right there. It's a straight pipeline.
That's,
when they
that's
finish
why they
the
wear
race,
the big
it's
hats. It's to keep the glue sort of spraying out off of.
But they don't tell you, and it's so weird for non-Kentucky Derby people. But the finish line is the glue factory.
That you can only place the bet at the Kentucky Derby, but you can bet on the last horse and how sticky their glue will be.
It is strange that they never name a horse Elmer.
I am reading this. This is just a description under a photograph of a horse on the ground. It does say 8 bells collapsing moments after finishing second at the 2008 Kentucky Derby. Due to her severe ankle injury, she was euthanized on the spot in front of tens of thousands of Derby spectators.
You couldn't have waited for everyone to
Sorry,
leave.
Timmy. Sorry, your favorite horse had to be put down.
Can you imagine putting a bet on that
Christ.
horse before the race?
and winning second.
Imagine
you get some
being
money.
the person. Imagine being the person who was like, "I bet that horse is gonna die," and now they're a billionaire.
Billionaire, the richest. That was Jeff Bezos. Actually, that's how he got his start. Hold on, guys. Olivia, Tyler, what are you guys doing here?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Nothing much, just getting ready to record a podcast. You ever heard of it?
Oh, I didn't know you guys came to the space. I was over here hanging out with, Bigfoot and Mothman and my good friend Rudy Giuliani, but just having fun over here in the space. I didn't know you guys joined me.
You can't backdoor the cryptocurrency podcast. You can't do it.
Did you guys want to come to the space this episode? It is the podcast, a podcast for podcasters by podcasters. Did you guys want to come to the space this
I'll
episode?
come play in the space.
Let's play in this. I'm down to play in
If
that
Rudy Giuliani
space.
is there, I am not going to the space.
And if Bigfoot is there, I'm also not going to the
Listen.
space.
Okay. It was rough at first. Me and Rudy Giuliani, we don't necessarily see it eye to eye, but hey, we had a lot of fun talking about math and Ethereum as magic.
Listen, I'll think about your cryptid currency podcast, but what else you got? We're in another space. What else you got?
Other stuff. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, but you do have to. Listen, you guys. It didn't need to be the B segment, but when you guys kind of turned down the cryptocurrency, you made Rudy Giuliani real sad. So could you guys just for me, could you guys please just introduce yourselves and then apologize to Rudy Giuliani?
I'm Olivia Fumiati, and I absolutely fucking will not.
I'm Tyler J. Karkara, and listen, Rudy. What's that stuff on your face, dog? What's that stuff running down your face? I gotta know.
He says there's this special ichor. I don't know what that means, but I think it's part of the Jersey Devil thing more so than the Rudy Giuliani thing. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is I need you guys to play with me this episode. I think there was a lot of no but last episode. I'm gonna need you guys to play with me.
You know why there was
this
a lot of
episode.
no but, O'Neill? Because we didn't want to fucking talk about cryptocurrency.
All right, let's just start it off. Let's just start it off clean. Podcast for podcasters by podcasters. I'm O'Neill Henry, and Bigfoot is my friend.
I'm Tyler J. Karkara, and the Mothman is my friend.
So I guess that one leaves Rudy Giuliani for you.
I'm Olivia Fumiati, and I walk Rudy Giuliani on a leash every day.
Oh, good. He needs his exercise, to be fair. So I'm glad you're taking the initiative.
We started off with a stroller, but he really wanted to smell the flowers, so we put him on a harness.
He spit out his binky in the stroller, so we sort of...
Yeah.
He has a little muzzle.
Yeah.
People think it's because he bites, but it's actually...
It's really because he eats shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's nodding his head. Yeah, he loves
we're not doing
shit.
this bit again. We are not doing other person in O'Neill's room bit.
Okay, guys, you guys go ahead and play. I'm gonna play with these guys for a little bit. Okay? Cool. Good. All right. So what do we got? We're gonna have a great lucrative podcast experience.
Podcasts are incredibly lucrative
and fun. I think that's something we always forget is that they're also fun.
Very fun. They're always fun, except for the Cryptid Currency podcast.
Listen. All right.
Oh, man. Welcome to the
spin
Wheel of Choosing.
Wheel of Choosing. And spin it. Oh, we got a border.
Oh.
It's Tyler. Tyler's going
also,
first.
O'Neill, happy birthday.
Thank you. Well, when this episode comes out tomorrow will be my birthday, so... Just wanted to.
It is not O'Neill's birthday as we were.
But
I know.
It's not my birthday.
As we're recording this
episode. Yeah.
Hey, it's recording this. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Now it's my turn. Now it's my time in the spotlight. I want to be a
star. Now it's
I'm ready
Tyler's
for my
turn. Tyler wants his turn on the swing set. So Tyler, what you got,
T-Dog?
So I've been traveling a little bit recently, and I assume you've both stayed in hotels before.
Yes.
Yeah, I've stayed in everything from your Motel 6, your La Quinta, maybe a Hilton or two.
Now, I want to... Hilton, fancy boy. I want to sort of discuss sort of a phenomenon that I've kind of discovered. There are plenty of reality TV podcasts, right? But those are about your sort of famous reality TV shows. Those are your Bachelors, your Bachelor in Paradise, your Bachelorettes, you know?
Bachelorette in Paradise.
What I want to discuss are the television shows that you really only watch at 9 p.m. in a hotel room, such as sort of your Ice Road Truckers, Guy Fieri's Grocery Store Dash, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and this podcast is called Hotelevision.
Ooh, okay.
And it is an exploration of the things that keep you entertained while you're in a Nashville Hyatt. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. I like this. Now, Tyler, I do have to ask you this because it is a staple of hotel programming. Are we getting into some Skinamax?
Skinamax could be in there. I was thinking more along the lines of Chopped, but you know, I'm not opposed.
Chopped. Obviously, you got your Chopped. Obviously, you got your what is the house flipping show that they always do on HGTV?
There's lots of those.
Good show.
House Hunters.
House Hunters International.
Absolutely.
Property Brothers.
Love the
Flip
Property
or
Brothers.
Flop, I think
Chip
is the
and
one you're
Joanna
looking forward
Flip or
to.
Flop. Trading Spaces. Love it
so
or
is
list
this
it.
a watch along podcast? Is this a critique podcast?
I think this is a critique podcast. We're trying to find the peak Hotelevision. What is the best?
Peak hotel TV. Yeah. Okay.
This is sort of a niche market that I feel like hasn't been explored. And
this isn't like a motel with HBO because...
No. We're not watching
then we can
Game of
get
Thrones. We're watching, we're sitting down and we're watching, your Chopped. We're sitting down and watching
is this
your
sort of in the lines...
Bobby Flay. You know what I mean? These sort of space filler
Man
shows
versus food.
It's
a lot of Food Network and HGTV. If we're gonna be completely honest,
I think there's
those
definitely
are
some
pretty much
Animal
our two
Planet.
staples.
Listen, now if we're being honest,
Animal
like,
Planet,
a real one that you would stumble on is maybe a Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Pitbulls and parolees.
Cops.
Pitbulls and parolees.
Just to watch all these people down on their luck, just getting arrested.
What you gonna do when they come for you?
and then obviously we'll have our pornography.
And then that'll be Hotelevision After Dark.
After Dark. Ooh, okay.
That'll be a Patreon exclusive.
That'll be a Patreon exclusive.
A Patreon exclusive will be
where
our
three friends watch porn together.
Was that any different than what we usually do?
Hey, that'll bring this podcast to new heights, huh? Take that explicit rating and just crank it up a little bit.
So do mine.
Hey, Olivia, let's all take a break here. Hey, Olivia's parents. we're going to be watching pornography together, and you're free to join us.
See what happens when you see what happens when you let her move to Boston all by herself. She listens to pornography on podcasts. Now the pornography podcast is also something.
That is something. Actually, that's a different podcast. That's a different podcast.
That's for the podcast after dark.
So I'm thinking there's another way we could go with this, and I don't know if you've thought about this.
I'm curious. I'm not.
Could we do sort of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 sort of watch along?
I like that. I like that a lot, actually, because
we start the episode, we sync it.
I was not tied to any one idea. I just love the idea of exploring those television shows that people make that you only watch at 9 p.m. in Salt Lake City. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. While your grandma's taking a shower because you guys are sharing a room.
So now are we reviewing shows based on location? So every week we are in a different hotel, and therefore...
That's a great idea. Okay. That's an excellent idea. Where are we coming to?
All right, okay.
Local reality TV is the local news channel.
Now, could I pitch you on this? Now, could I pitch you on this? This is actually a travel show where the three of us go to a hotel and rent a room to watch
porn.
Just write off that visiting expense. Oh yeah, and watch porn together and jerk each other off. Yeah, I love it.
Sort of hang that do not disturb on the door and watch Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Okay, do not disturb. I like it. Now, okay, there's a couple of things I like about this. One, we can sort of get. I think yes, recording it in the hotel sort of brings that authenticity. Maybe there is a crying baby in one motel room next door. Maybe there's a couple making love in another motel room.
We got gunshots outside. We get bed
maybe
bugs.
1 week we're in like a dirty motel room, and that's when we watch Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
One weekend we're in like a B&B in Alaska, and that's when we watch Deadliest Catch.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Now, how do we especially for these motel episodes that we'll be doing, how do we capture the smell? That's the thing with podcasting. I think we have
could be like a
Smell-O-Vision.
subscription podcast where if you pay $5 every month, we'll send you a scratch and sniff. To
scratch and sniff of the.
It'll become a scratch and sniff sticker and one bed bug.
And one bed bug that comes in a little bottle. You get to shake it up. Yeah,
you can. Yeah, I think that's sort of like a fun mystery box because you never know what you're gonna get in the box to watch along at the show. I like that idea a lot, and this is a way to make it lucrative.
Hotel television subscription box idea. This is now podcast. So you've created a book club podcast relating to hotel.
Now, what would the subscription box be for, say, Wife Swap?
Okay, so I feel like Wife Swap is like middle of the road. This is your this is your Marriott. This is your Red Roof Inn.
Maybe just a wet bathroom towel.
I think we're either wet bathroom towel,
like a La Quinta, all white with a little bit of a stain on there, like a very faded dark brown stain. Yeah, and it's just a little bit wet.
I think part of the subscription box is that we do have to raid the hotel room and all of the shampoo, conditioner, soap, mouthwash.
Every subscription box comes with a little shampoo and a little conditioner. I love it.
I love it.
Now, Tyler, how is this show different from a Rose Buddies, a Bake-On, sort of just like discussing the podcasting?
We're not tied to one show. We're tied to many shows.
Okay.
First of all,
we're tied to whatever's
aesthetic hot. Whatever's hot in the hotel.
Whatever's hot in the hotel television. All right, so this will be like a partnership with Discovery, essentially.
I like that.
That's most of those shows.
That's definitely it. But that's my point. Is all of the your Rose Buddies and all of those. Those are like about your bachelors, your bachelorettes, your Bachelor in Paradise, your other shows where hot people kiss. This is about Dog the Bounty Hunter, and this one's about 15 pregnant. You know what I mean? This one's about I didn't know I was a pregnant.
TLC, MTV, like this is just like
this one's about my strange addiction. You know what I mean?
Okay, the Dr. Pimple Popper. I love it.
Popper,
okay.
the podcast.
I'm thinking, is there space on here for guests?
I think there's I think this would be a guest-heavy show. Who would join us? Who related to the show can join us in the hotel?
I mean,
room?
obviously, we could on very, very special episodes. We could get Bobby Flay, Guy Fieri,
Rachel
Ray,
our Martha Stewart,
Rachel Ray, the Property Brothers.
If we get Martha Stewart, we might be able to get Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
If we okay. I think that's a good one. I think having Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg sort of in the hotel with us. I love that. Yeah,
that's
okay.
Great. And
I love that.
We could unfortunately we only got one queen bed for everyone to share.
Yeah. We all have to share, and we all have to share the shower. So this is I think this is great. This happens at the end of the day. Each of us takes turns, hopping in the shower because we all have to share the same shower. So we all rotate out, and then Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg are there hanging out, and then we all just sort of talk about this episode of House Flipper. Now, did we get a smoking suite so Snoop Dogg can do his great work?
I would be disappointed if we didn't, because I plan on doing my great work as well.
Yeah. I think it's all of our great work, if we're being honest.
It depends on the episode,
Yeah, 100%. So what are we thinking for maybe a pilot episode?
That's a good question.
What's a good foundational...
I think the best pilot episode... Gosh, what's the biggest one? It's got to be a Guy Fieri related, right? It's got to be one of his.
It might be Dine-In, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
It can't be Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Can I pitch you on Guy's Grocery Games?
Guy's Grocery Games, an ill-run show. I think that only got 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
What about like they have these sort of seasonal?
Nope, 30 seasons. Goddamn! Holy fuck! Whoa! 30 seasons, Guy Fieri. 30 seasons of going to a grocery store and then making food. I guess they'll put anything on TV, huh? But we can't get a couple of views. Hey guys, do I need to get frosted tips? Is this what it needs to be? I'll get frosted tips if we can get more listeners to the show. Share the show with your friends, guys. Hashtag PodPodPod.
Please, God
damn,
so
30 seasons,
we need the podcast
Guy Fieri. Fuck. And he has his other show, too. He has his other
many shows.
It's not like he's stopping. 30 seasons!
It can't be 30. That has to be a misread 3, right?
There's probably 2 a year for the last some odd years. 2 or 3 a year for the last some odd years.
30 seasons!
Hit up the
Olivia.
IMDb.
Even if it was 30 seasons, if it was 2 seasons
last 15
for the past,
years.
That would be 15 years. The show has not been running for 15
so it's probably
years.
Been,
There's no way.
It's probably been about 10
3
years.
3 seasons a year?
3 seasons a year, yeah.
God damn.
Yep.
God damn. Good to see guys getting work, though.
It's been running since 2013, and there are, in fact, 428 episodes.
Jesus. Okay, this is it. We absolutely have to watch Guys' Grocery Games.
He must be filming
we
like 6 a day.
We absolutely have to watch Guys' Grocery Games.
400 episodes.
And maybe our pilot is getting to the bottom of why the fuck there are 428 episodes.
Okay, so are we having Guy on for that episode?
Oh, that's a good
Or are we having Martha Stewart and
what about former contestants who can tell us tell us all the dirty details about how that show got made?
I wonder if
Greg from Hy-Vee.
We tweet out and try to find.
If we tweet out
when you on Guys' Grocery Games,
will you come on our podcast?
It would take a little bit of prep, but I don't think we could. It's a possibility.
Listen,
sure.
I think we go to that if this wins in deliberation.
There's been 400 episodes. There's got to be one we could grab, right? There's been 400.
Oh, there's got to be someone at least willing to lie about it.
Yeah, right. Somebody who could weave a nice, rich tapestry.
Now I feel like we've been going on for a long time about Hotelevision, and as much as I love getting all the attention. I think we've sort of come to a culmination of the power this podcast has.
Yes.
So why don't we spin the wheel again and see who's going next?
Okay, and we're spinning the wheel.
It's the birthday boy.
Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo.
You look like a monkey, and you smell like
you can't say that.
Oh,
you can't say that.
Olivia.
You
oh my
can't
God.
say that, Olivia.
I'm
Canceled.
so sorry.
Canceled.
Remember, notice how I stopped. I baited you into it. Ha!
You bitch.
He got you. He
bitch.
got you. All right. And so.
Oh no! I can see your screen, O'Neill.
God.
Yeah. Modern Stone Age family. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pitching our first ever spin-off podcast. If you might remember from our first ever podcast B segment. Let's just play the clip right now.
We saw Fred and Barney putting the fruit in Fruity Pebbles. Statements by both Wilma Flintstone and Betty Rubble confirmed that these Stone Age friends have actually been in items since the early 70s.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Modern Stone Age family. Fred and Barney are together, and they're giving advice. This is a dating and advice podcast hosted by our Stone Age lovers, Fred and Barney, and maybe a special guest, as they give relationship advice. Now that they are fully together and have been for a little bit, they're ready to come out to you and give you some details and some relationship advice.
What I like about this is that they know what a podcast is.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely them yelling into a pterodactyl's sort of mouth. But it's got really, really good. They got the full 32-bit depth. It's analog. It's all there. But yeah, I'm pitching you from the world of the Stone Age times, modern times. Listen, things have changed, and it's time for these two lovers to start doling out some advice. You know?
What kind of advice specifically are we talking? Is it just like straight relationship advice, or is it sort of Stone Age relationship advice? Is this like a write in Dear Abby,
Yeah, I'm thinking like either, we bring on a guest or a couple that is dealing with some relationship problems, and also maybe some Stone Age time problems, Maybe they don't like the fact that their partner took a ride on their coworker's pterodactyl on the way home, right? Or maybe, and that's the thing. It doesn't have to be, I don't think it necessarily needs to be completely relationship advice. It could also be like friendship advice, Like my friend let my other friend get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, and like, how am I supposed to confront that? Like, that's toxic as fuck, I think they can just I think it's just general relationship advice. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but I think it's, primed for this new, that's what it is, the modern Stone Age, right? Like, these guys are giving, advice through their tumultuous relationship, and they're helping out these Stone Age folks.
Now, I'm not saying that is a bad idea. I'm not going to say that at all. No. The thing is, this is from a production standpoint. Who's Fred and who's Barney?
I think that's something we could possibly work out. I don't know if we necessarily. I think I have probably a better Fred than a Barney, but I could probably work these vocals and eke out a Barney. Tyler's dying. Tyler, are you okay? Tyler, are you alive? Tyler, he's getting his Barney voice together. Yabba dabba doo. It's pretty good. It's not too bad. Just gotta add a little bit of New York accent in there. You're fine. Yeah, but I think and that's the other thing. We need to figure out if there's gonna be a special guest. If there's who in the zeitgeist has been having some relationship.
Oh man,
is there
it's
any
all
hot drama?
Bad news. I
Maybe we have Taylor
I don't know
Swift
people
on.
who are having actual relationship problems. Normally, it's just
No, I don't. And listen, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be super super deep again. Maybe we just get Taylor Swift and she can sort of chime in on her relationship stuff. And it's Taylor.
That's
and
right.
The two.
The reason she broke up with Harry Styles was because she's against the use of animals to turn your TV on and off. You know what I mean? It's animal cruelty, and he says it's a living. So
yeah, it's a living.
It's a living.
Or maybe it is like a pterodactyl that is coming in for relationship advice, or, a mammoth, maybe. I'm open to suggestions for what you guys think the celebrity guest could be. It doesn't have to be a celebrity guest, but who are
really
third?
Now, could the celebrity guest be
Or
someone
maybe-
from the Stone Age, from the actual Stone Age, who has come back sort of through a Pauly Shore-esque means? What's the movie where the caveman comes back with Pauly Shore?
I love that flick. Maybe it's a Geico.
It's a Geico
caveman. So
That's right. That's it.
It's a Geico caveman and the other two cavemen. And the Geico cavemen from that one Office show about the Geico cavemen are having some relationship issues, and that's what they're trying to deal with. Or maybe it's their friend. We can decide on that after the fact. But what are we thinking? How are we feeling?
Here's the thing. I am vibing with this show in the sense that I think it would make a somewhat entertaining show. I'm just worried it would tread on B segment ground we've already done.
Well, that's the thing. It's our first ever spinoff, and that's.
How do you feel about that? How do you differentiate it from the Count Chocula podcast?
Oh no, completely different show. Count Chocula was like a talk show. This is like dating.
So this is just like dating.
Okay.
This is completely. This is a completely different podcast. This is dating, relationship. These are two gay men who are in love,
and they came out to the world at a Harry Styles concert.
At a Queens of the Stone Age concert? They really are the Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, I think that
that's the name of the podcast,
fact that,
by the way, the Queens of the Stone Age. That's
Queens of the Stone Age? I don't know. I'm still partial to modern Stone Age family.
Modern
I think
Stone
that
Age
has some
family
good
is
ties.
good.
Maybe
Have they adopted a modern child?
Well, they have their children from their previous marriages, right? So maybe that could be the other thing.
Is there
maybe
a crossover with the Jetsons?
Maybe they give relationship advice to the Jetsons.
Like
to Jane
maybe,
and George.
maybe they're giving relationship advice to their children, right? Maybe Bam Bam is seeking some relationship advice. You know,
maybe they're dealing with a lawsuit.
I think it's fairly open.
Maybe the mystery gang, Mystery Incorporated, has been called in as private detectives to sort of investigate them, so that Wilma can get a better payout in her alimony settlement.
Are you okay? This is getting into crumble territory a little bit, but I'm liking the buy into the world. I think that keeping it within the bounds of
general,
I would just say,
got it.
General relationship advice. I think relationship advice, maybe dating, maybe friendships. I don't know what
interpersonal advice.
Interpersonal relationships. That's really what these two, because they've had to do a lot of work on themselves to get to where they are now, and they're finally happy. And that's the thing. That's the vibe.
I do like this. O'Neill, I like this idea. I do like it. I think it would be fun and good.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah, and I think it has a nice mellow vibe to it. I think it's like a very cutesy, very like calm, mellow. Very very.
I
nice
absolutely think so. And after recording I Can Has podcast last week,
oh boy,
I think this
we need a nice.
It would be a nice
cleanse.
mellow,
relaxed,
a nice sort of good vibe to put out into the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I still can't get over I Can Have podcast. I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody can. That was
It's my sleep. That podcast is my sleep paralysis.
I still think that might be a war crime, and I don't know for sure because I haven't checked the Geneva Conventions in a minute. But it might have been a war crime.
Now, O'Neill, I like this idea, and I think we've sort of stretched out. Now, the name of the podcast we're settled on is the Modern Stone Age Family.
Unless you guys can hit me with a banger of one, that was the crux of how I sort of came.
I think that's a good one. I think it only works in context of we help them create their logo to look like the
Modern Family meets Flintstones.
Logo.
Yeah, I got a couple.
I think it's good and powerful, and I think the New York Times is going to love this.
Yeah, New York Times is going to pick this up and go crazy with it, right? Because I finally, Fred and Barney are talking about their relationship, and I think it's cute. I think it's adorable.
The New York Times loves signal boosting stuff that doesn't need it.
Yeah, I mean they are
New York
celebrities.
Times. We'd love to be signal boosted, by the way.
Hey, New York Times, you want to hit us up real quick? It's the podcast 3 times.
Yeah, we're just young, hungry podcasters. Yeah. Anyway,
all right,
Olivia,
I believe you're up now.
How much is too much? That's the question that I pose with this podcast. The Food and Drug Administration allow a certain amount of parts per million in certain foods that are distributed throughout the United States. I think that this podcast really does address what we allow to go into our food.
Okay.
Okay. So the example being 1/30th of an ounce of blood is allowed per certain percentage of milk. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Hold on, let me look.
Okay, now how do we turn this into a podcast? You've got me hooked. Now reel me in.
The USDA allows milk to contain 1 to 1 and 500,000 white blood cells per milliliter. So that's 1/30th of an ounce. Is
per gallon?
That too much?
Fascinating.
Okay, so this is sort of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, weirdest food
or like
sort of
peanut butter, chocolate. These two things, mice go crazy for them. They love peanuts. They love peanut butter. They love chocolate. Okay. The USDA allows a certain number of particulate waste from these animals and or animal parts into these products. So really makes you think about the next time you eat a Reese's peanut butter cup, you are eating rats and rat shit.
You get double in there.
How much is too much?
Hey, Olivia, I love this. I'm all about sort of Upton Sinclair's The Jungling Modern Society.
Yeah.
But how can we make a funny
it's not funny.
I think it's there. I think we found it, baby.
Oh, this is just sort of a serious investigation
yelling about this
podcast.
nasty food. Okay, interesting. So we are.
So do we get a bunch of scientists to sort of examine your average gallon of milk for blood?
Pretty
is
much.
That sort of the podcast?
Oh,
And then we just
okay.
discuss how much. Now, is the question how much blood in milk before you notice it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another thing. Could we do like a reaching limits? So like, you know, they put. You could put crickets in your peanut butter. How much until you...
It's like the how much sawdust in a Rice Krispie treat until you just eating sawdust kind of thing.
Exactly. And I think it might just be
It's
all
sort
of
of a
it.
Theseus's ship of stuff that'll destroy your body.
Yeah, boil the frog. I think that's a good name for the podcast potentially, because that is what we're doing essentially.
How much
we're
blood can you pour into milk before it's blood and not milk?
Exactly. Or before it's just bloody milk, right? Because obviously you can have a little bit of
before it's milky blood.
Well, that too. That's a glass half full situation. But I am saying, like, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you're picking out your half gallon of Highland 2%, you're looking at that and saying, this is milk, right? This is milk. But there could be blood in there, right?
Definitely
So how much more... Exactly, right? So how much more blood could we put in there before it's no longer milk? This is bloody milk, right? And does it change if it's strawberry milk?
Ew.
Does it change if it's strawberry milk? That's a good point. And I love the idea that instead of trying to change the system, we just sort of examine it.
We pick it apart and we examine
take
ourselves.
it to the streets. We say, hey, random person on the street.
Oh, I love this.
Do you know that there is blood in milk? Do you know that there is mouse shit in chocolate? How do you feel? How much is too much for you?
And we actually, we gauge how much, and maybe we put a little bit of rat matter in a Reese's peanut butter cup and say, how much does this taste good? Yeah, you just ate rat feces.
Yeah.
Would we go to jail for that?
I love that.
Interesting.
I'm all about this. I'm all about this concept. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So my podcast name is USDA.
Hey, how is that spelled? Like EGUE?
Now, could we workshop that?
Yeah.
That sort of. That
Is there room for
name a little bit?
For play in there? I was.
Can I pitch you on this?
hit me with that.
Can I pitch you on this? The U-EwwSDA.
USDA. USDA.
No,
That's
I like
actually,
it.
I think that'll work better.
Yeah, I
in
like
writing.
USDA. It doesn't. I don't know if that necessarily gets across. Well, and that's the thing, because you have a little bit more time in this pitch. Let's sort of like focus on maybe the structure of this show, right? So we'll be bringing.
That's where I'm at.
So we'll be bringing. I'm assuming every episode will be a food item, right? Very Adam ruins everything.
Yeah, we
just ruin a food item every week.
Yes.
Hi, random person on the street. How much blood is in
If you
this?
had
How
to
much blood
guess.
do you think is in this?
How much rat is in this peanut butter?
butter?
Okay. Interesting. So we start with sort of an analysis of what the bylaws are, right? And maybe we take the laws
Exactly.
in different countries, right? Because I'm sure that the U.S.
Love
has
it.
certain laws, and UK, I don't know, India, China, every country probably has different rules around how much blood and
How much
rat
blood, how much
feces are allowed in
pus
chocolate
is in
milk.
this milk?
Now, can we get to is there a way we can sort of, because chocolate milk, if we think about chocolate milk, that's rat feces and blood. So maybe there's something there
Now that
too.
I'm listening to us talking about it, I really hate this idea. It's
It's very gross, but I'm a
really
nasty boy. I
gross.
love this shit. This is my shit. I love this. Here's what it is, Olivia. Here's what appeals to me. Society is on a razor's edge right now. Everything about your perception of society can just sort of crumble away at a moment's notice. And I love that. that. So I want to take down what we perceive to be as our society working and really show that it's all make believe. It's all made up and none of it's real.
I also don't want this to be like a activist podcast. I don't want this to be like, this is why you shouldn't drink milk. But I want it to be a podcast that makes you think about whether or not that's something you want to consume.
Protein, baby. You get a little extra protein in your milk with that extra blood.
Exactly. Well, can I pitch a segment? Can I pitch a segment that is why this stuff in there is actually good for you?
Yeah, the bright side.
What the positives are of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the bright side? We could do sort of a flashback segment to see how far we've come and be like,
I like that. I like that. I like taking the historical
fingers were getting ground
when we
up
figured
in
out
sausage.
pasteurization.
Yeah, add a little bit of history to it. I like that. And maybe
you ever have a little
that.
You think blood in your milk's bad, you ever have moldy milk?
I like
just got
this. Okay, yeah. And yes, okay, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So it's an educational podcast. Just sort of like put it in its box. It's an educational podcast about the gross things that we allowed in our food, but how it benefits us or how it's, a necessary evil sort of deal. Is that that's what we're thinking?
Yes.
Okay. And then
I like that.
And then we go out to the street and sort of interview people about their nasty what they think about their
nasty milk proclivities.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I don't drink
like
milk
that
at
a
all.
lot.
That's that.
How much blood is in almond milk? Probably at least a
What
little
is
bit.
my oat milk? Who knows?
Now, so far we've only really discussed milk and peanut butter. What else is out there that we could sort of take down that you think has some gross stuff in it?
M&Ms.
Could we investigate it ourselves?
M&Ms have, well, Tyler, I'm not a journalist and I don't know much about food at all. I follow one TikTok food creator that I can't remember what they do, but they talk a lot about food science and I think it'd be nice to maybe have them on the show.
I mean, we could talk about Carmine, we could talk about lanolin, we could talk about all this other kind of
That's what I was
gonna
get. I was gonna get into the chemicals on the back of the.
What about that? Remember when Bluebell got taken out of stores because they had a horrible, evil chemical that would kill you in their ice cream? And we sort of discussed that chemical. So this is a podcast sort of discussing all the nasty stuff that could end up in your food.
All the nasty
I think we could talk about
this.
the scandals of the food industry, but I think we should also talk about the positives. For instance, everybody's eating beetle wings, right? Those coatings on your M&Ms and Skittles, that's all beetle wing, baby. That crunch you get in your candy, that's beetle wings, baby. But it's good. You love it. You love that crunch. So maybe just informing people about the nasty things that they are eating.
That's what they classify under natural flavors.
Beetle crunch. I think it's its own specific chemical.
And then if you think about how much stuff gelatin is in.
Oh yeah, that rendered pig fat.
You want to talk about the glue
nasty,
factory for the horses?
dude.
How about the gelatin factory for everybody else? I mean,
you might be doing a callback that was in a cold open that might not have been picked, but hey, we don't know. But yes, I think this could be good. I like this. We're getting into the nastiness of food.
I like how gross this podcast is. I love how gross it is. I'm a nasty. You guys know. Now, can we combine it with my podcast and do it from a hotel room?
I don't think so, Tyler.
Can we bring a black light to a hotel room?
Oh boy,
that's going to make for great podcast material. That's great audio.
Maybe we do it for guys' show. It's like, oh yeah. In that episode, he picked up peanut butter that had 8 cricket legs in it, you know? And it's great for destigmatizing sort of non-Western food items. Because that's the other thing is like in other cultures, they'll eat, what is it in Liberia? They eat cicadas, like regular, just fine. Yeah, it's protein. It's good. It's got a nice crunch to it. You fry them up. Destigmatize that, you know? It's fine. It's safe and it's tasty. And I think that's another interesting aspect of this podcast.
Yeah, so
I think an interesting aspect of this podcast could definitely be that Americans are prudes when it comes to what food they eat.
Yeah. We have a very specific and I would say the FDA is the most stringent drug, food overseer. But yeah, definitely. 100%. I think that cross comparison would be nice too. 100%. Cool. And what was the title for that again?
U-EwwSDA.
U-EwwSDA. I love that. Okay. All right. Recap real quick.
I started with Hotelevision. It is a hotel-based podcast in which we bring in guests to discuss the best television shows to watch while you're eating Doritos in Reno, Nevada.
I brought Modern Stone Age Family, an interpersonal relationship advice podcast hosted by the two lovers, Barney and Fred, as they share their love with the world. And that is Modern Stone Age Family.
USDA takes a look at the nasty stuff that we put in our food and lets you decide if enough is enough. How much is too much?
All right.
It's time to move to
Deliberation. All right. Let's just do a gut check real quick. What's everybody
I don't
feeling?
like mine. And I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I like
see, Olivia, here's the weird part.
yours.
I like yours. I really like yours. And now here's the thing. I do think yours is a fully fleshed out idea, I believe. I think we could turn it into a full episode. Maybe we consider it for
God,
a bit
I hope
depth.
not.
I really like yours. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting to talk about at some point. We have to.
Now, O'Neill, if I let you do a character on mine, would that entice you?
Maybe. We haven't done a lot of character work in a B segment. Although
one of us would have to be Guy Fieri because it would be
if we are doing his 30 seasons
or hypothetically some person
now, Tyler,
on the show.
Your podcast, while it is great, is a bit too much centered around other media. Like the audience would have to either watch the show to be able to listen in the discussion or sync up the show. And, with streaming the way it is, we don't even know where some of these shows live. That's my only knock against yours. I like the concept of it, and I think we could have a lot of fun with yours. But I think it might be maybe not podcast centric enough, if that makes sense. But Olivia,
that's fair. That's fair. It feels more like an after show or like a Between Two Ferns YouTube series.
Yeah, not to say that.
No, that's perfectly fair. Now the real question is, now here's the thing. I'll come back to it. I think I like both of your ideas, and I don't know. I think Olivia's going to vote for yours because Olivia hates their sort of podcast they've created. But and since we're not voting, it's I would say it's definitely between yours. I've had my time in the sun.
Here's what
I made the glory that is I Can Ask podcast.
Oh boy, that would be a stain on your reputation. That almost ended the show, Tyler. Your B segment almost ended this show.
You chose to do it.
That is true. We were looking through rose-tinted glasses. That was not the case.
We were given the illusion of free choice.
I will say from a fiducial standpoint, I think we're starting to build the PPPCU, and I think going with Modern Stone Age Family might just expound on that, especially if we ever do the crumble. I think we're starting to build a whole universe here, guys, and all these networks are loving these cinematic universes, so I'm just saying, guys, first ever spin-off podcast.
I don't disagree. Olivia, if you don't have strong feelings about, say, not doing O'Neill's, which I don't think you do, I'm sort of at a 50-50.
Okay.
Olivia, I want to hear your thoughts on like the promise between the three. What do you think for each three?
Mine, as I was listening to us talk about it, I was like, this is really, really gross. And I don't know if this is something that I want to force our listeners to listen to. Maybe skip this one. I don't know.
We made them listen to I Can Has podcast, Olivia. This
there's the line's already been crossed, Olivia. We've already given them our worst.
For Hotelevision, I like the idea of addressing guys grocery games. Sounds so freaking fun, and I just want to watch one episode and talk about it because I think that would be insanely fun. For yours, O'Neill, I don't know. So we have Barney, we have Fred. Who's our third person? Like, is this like? Is this our guest?
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
We have a lot. I think we can circle back around to this, but I think there's a
or
lot
like,
of
do they have
things.
a producer who is like keeping them on track?
Hey, listen.
Bam, the
Pebbles.
producer, because he's Gen Z.
Imagine the antics that go on in that studio with Bam Bam and Pebbles.
I think her name is Pebbles.
True. Bam is definitely the most supportive.
Yeah.
Pebbles actually did not support her parents.
I think everybody. Here's what I will say. Here's my suggestion maybe for the third guest. Velma. I think it was probably a fairly clean divorce. I think it was like a nice divorce. It was like, hey, I understand you were under these things. We can still be friends. So maybe she's on the podcast as their third host, right? And it was just a nice split. They still raised the kid together. Maybe she's on the podcast.
You know what, O'Neill? So many of our fictions that we create are terribly sad
and dark.
Kind
of
maybe
so I would like to have this one needs split. To be positive. Yes. This one will be a happy show that, much like the Flintstones back in the day, it's just all fun family friends. It's just we're bringing it into the modern era.
You're absolutely right. We've put a lot of evil out into the world in recent episodes.
Yeah. So I think that I think that kind of puts mine on the back burner. So I
definitely.
I'm with you. I
think Modern Stone Age Family might be our winner this week.
I think so too.
Okay, cool. All right. So with that, we will be back with you with Modern Stone Age Family. I wonder who's going to sue us for this one.
Yeah.
Have a good day to everyone. This is the Modern Stone Age Family Podcast. Advice for love in the Modern Stone Age. I'm your host, Fred Flintstone-Rubble.
And I'm your husband host, Barney Flintstone-Rubble.
Barney?
And we're here joined as always with Fred's beautiful ex-wife.
Oh, Barney, thank you. I'm Wilma Slag Hopel. Every week we take your relationship questions and answer them for the modern age.
How are we all doing today?
Doing pretty good, Barney.
I'm doing wonderful, Barney. You know better than I do. I made a hell of a frittata this morning. It was fantastic.
Oh, it was delicious, my beautiful husband. It was gorgeous. I always love your cooking. We had a beautiful day yesterday, too. We took the kids. We went to the park. We saw Shakespeare in the park. It was beautiful.
Oh, is that the guy who gets on stage with a stick and he just shakes the spear?
Yeah, Shakespeare. We had a great time. We took Pebble and Bam Bam. It was good.
Yeah, Pebbles mentioned something about it. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we also had to go to the Whole Foods afterward because now I'm on this. Bonnie's got me on this keto diet.
It's good for you, Fred. I keep on telling you.
Yeah, but the cauliflower rice and the dinosaur kale, it's all too much.
Healthy. It's part of
I think it'll be good for you,
Fred. There, Fred. And you're looking a lot better with all of that. I'm just saying, you look great.
I feel like you're eating more mindfully.
No, I appreciate that, but a man needs to have himself an ostrich steak every now and then, you know?
We'll have that for dinner one of these weeks. Listen, we're going to get into the advice here, but I think this is a momentous occasion. I think we need to talk about it. Our little Bam Bam is going to Stone Coming. Aren't you guys excited for that?
I think it'll be great.
Oh, I remember my first Stone Coming.
Yeah, we went together. We went with Wilma. I went with Betty. I remember it like it was yesterday.
That's right. We snuck off behind the bleachers while Wilma and Betty were getting...
Well, you don't need to tell everybody our business there, Fred.
That's where you boys went.
Yeah, we were troublemakers back then. Anyway, just wanted to give a very special shout out to my little boy. I guess he's not so little anymore.
Absolutely. And just as part of this day, we'd like to kick off our Modern Stone Age advice show and giving our own beautiful boy Bam Bam a little bit of advice on how to ask his sweetheart to Stone Coming. Wilma, I think you're best equipped to sort of take this one as you are the one being asked. How would you like to be invited to your first Stone Coming?
Absolutely. So, I think everyone loves flowers. I think it's classic. I think it's charming. I think if Bam Bam presents his date with a couple of flowers, maybe some snapdragons, maybe some Venus flytraps, something like that, a couple of ferns, I think that would be a great
Wilma,
way
you're making me tear
to express how he feels and to invite her to Stone Coming, or him to Stone Coming. Sorry, I don't want to,
you love whoever you want to love, Bam Bam.
Exactly. So, I think that a little bit of flowers, just asking honestly, if she says no, that's fine. Find a couple of friends to go with. I don't think there's anything wrong with going stag if you're with your
I
pals.
went to my first homecoming with friends first, and then obviously we all went out together. But that's the old Stone Age, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, we got a whole bunch of great advice for you guys today. Wilma, you want to kick us off with our first question?
Absolutely. All right. This comes from Rolling Stone and Bedrock. My boyfriend has a very weird relationship with my best friend. They've become really good friends, but the three of us will hang out, and I feel like I'm the third of that new invention, the wheel, in their relationship. I don't want to get in the way of their relationship, but sometimes I'd like to have my boyfriend or my best friend to myself without the other one there. How do I start to draw boundaries without making them feel like real dodos?
That third wheel.
Something that we've had problems with ourselves. I feel like we have firsthand experience in how to, yabba dabba, deal with a third wheel. I'll find the fun in there somewhere. Don't worry about it.
No, you got it, Fred. I feel like, especially at the beginning, because I didn't meet Betty for a couple years after you guys met. I was sticking around as the third wheel with you two, back when you two were together, and I think it's a fun time. Now, the only problem is you two were in the relationship. But I mean, I don't know, Wilma, did it sometimes feel like you were playing third wheel to me and Fred?
Yes.
Well, think we know how that would shook out. Maybe you might want to double check, I would say, with your partner. Just make sure that things are still on the level. Maybe double check and make sure that there's not some external pressures on your relationship. Communication is key.
Now, Barney, I completely agree that communication is key. And if there's anybody in all of Bedrock that knows about what happens when you keep things cooped up inside for too long, it is the three of us. So what I would say
truly
is to perhaps provide your boyfriend with some sort of ultimatum is a terrible thing to do, but perhaps say you'd like to go out on dates, just the two of you sometimes. And
just enjoy each other's company.
Exactly. If you create special times for just the two of you, then I think things will sort of fall into place.
And I think very similarly, you could do the same thing with your best friend. If you do, it's just the two of us. Make it a girls' day, a boys' day. Make it just the two of yous.
There's friend time and then there's partner time. And I think you got to just make a little bit more separation between the two. Not saying you got to isolate your partner, but, there's us time and then there's all of us time,
Bonnie, I can't agree with you more.
Let's head to our next question. This is from Oinking in Slateville. My friend gave my pig garbage disposal irritable bowel syndrome, and now he won't stop spitting up the scraps we feed him. How do I get my friend to pay me back for all the psyllium fiber I had to use to unclog my disposal?
Oh, I hate when this happens. Don't you hate it when it happens, Fred?
Oh, I hate it when it happens. You don't have a garbage disposal. You have to dig it all out of the sink and throw it in the trash with your bare hands.
And I mean, those bare hands, they get dirty every time you put them in the sink. So
every time you put them in the sink, they get dirty. And you have to wash your bare hands after that.
Yeah. So it's always nice to have the pig garbage disposal. Now, I listen. This might be a sunk cost fallacy thing, but was this build up? Was this build up over time, and then your boy got some irritable bowel syndrome, or was this? Did they just throw something recklessly in there? Because if they threw something recklessly in your pig,
everyone knows you're not supposed to put coffee grounds in there.
You can't put coffee grounds in your pig; it gives them irritable bowel syndrome. So I mean, if that's the problem, then they need to cough up the cash. It's plain and simple, and I think they'd recognize that. But, if it was just build up over time, you hadn't been, taking proper care of your boar, then that's a whole other problem. I don't think you should be asking your friend for money for that.
Now, I don't completely agree when the boar has irritable bowel syndrome and your garbage disposal is letting loose all over your kitchen floor. Who's gonna clean that? Not the boar, I'll tell you that much.
And not your friend.
And that'll be really bad for your goat vacuum cleaner. They're gonna have to eat all that shit.
They'll do it, but man, you'll have to pay them extra, I'll tell you.
Oh, you know what they always say, it's a living.
So I do think that it might be a good idea to just come to a compromise. Maybe your friend might have borrowed the pig for a party just to get everything, down quick. But I think that if you just say, hey, either you help me pay for this, you don't have to pay for all of it, but if you pay for some of it, I'll let you borrow it again. As long as there are guidelines, there are some boundaries.
Exactly.
That is it. I think this doesn't have to be, a big deal, but I think, just expressing your displeasure and making sure that your feelings are heard.
Could I perhaps provide maybe a slightly more devious solution to this?
Oh, Fred, I love your antics.
What did you have in mind, Fred?
Now, your boy has irritable bowel syndrome, and your friend asked to borrow it. If perhaps you could offer to provide the boar again for them while your boar is a little under the weather, and then when the boar goes to their place and boars all over the floors, if you know what I mean, then they'll get a sort of a taste of their own medicine thrown back at them.
That's very true, Fred. Giving them a little bit of taste of the old boar bowels are always the chance to rectify the situation.
Excellent. So we've got one more question before we go to the break. So this is from Mammoth-Sized Problem in the Cretaceous. My neighbor's got a new mammoth shower, and its rear end is positioned right over my garden. While I normally wouldn't be opposed to fertilizer, the mammoth-sized dumps this thing is dropping on my begonias are crushing them and stinking like nobody's business. Do I tell my neighbor to move their mammoth after they shower, or do I submit my garden to an existence as a compost pile?
We had this problem when we moved into our new place. Wasn't that right, Fred?
Except it wasn't a mammoth, it was their pet Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did the bath thing. That's right. But we still had all the leave-ins afterwards, and we couldn't quite figure it out. I remember...
And I'll tell you what, as someone on a keto diet, an all-meat diet really doesn't do wonders for the sort of firmness of your bowel movements.
No, it does not, but it does make really good fertilizer. So...
It does make great fertilizer. And I gotta say, it's very surprising to me how blue this episode has gone. It does not normally go this blue.
It doesn't normally go this blue, but we got a couple of interesting questions there, Fred. I think this is what you do. You got a whole mammoth creating big fat mammoth dumps in your lawn. Take some of that and share it with the neighbors,
That's a great idea, Bonnie.
Maybe you put a little wheelbarrow underneath and you share it with the neighbor. Then you're establishing that connection, that bond,
Like a rain barrel, but for fertilizer.
Exactly.
You can make a profit off of it, too.
Yeah, sell it. It's on your yard,
And if your neighbor has any problems, any qualms with that, just say, move your mammoth.
Move your mammoth.
Then you can sell the fertilizer.
And then your neighbor might be, trying to get a little bit in on that lucrative business. I think this is all positives here.
100%. I completely agree. You know what they say? Every tunity is an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Every tunity is a tunity. Oh, yeah. I love that. Well, we're having some great fun here, but I do believe it is time to go to the ad segment.
Absolutely. Let's head on over.
This episode is brought to you by Dino VPN.
Are you tired of having those pesky little dromaeosaurids getting into your house and home and just really making a mess of things?
Then use Dino VPN, the dinosaur velociraptor protection net that our family loves.
I use Dino VPN on all of my devices, entrances and exits. That's right. We use it on all of our windows and doors and even on the go.
Once I was in a car and a velociraptor flew right at me, but my Dino VPN caught it right up.
Bonnie, years ago I had a velociraptor steal my identity, and I'm still putting the pieces back together. But luckily with Dino VPN, I feel safe in my own home.
If you want to feel the safety and security knowing that your identity won't be stolen by these pesky raptors, then go to www.dinovpn.com/modern and try DinoVPN free for 30 days. That's www.dinovpn.com and enter the code MODERN, MODERN, for a free 30-day net trial.
Don't let dinosaurs sneak up behind you, Yabba Dabba. Do get Dino VPN today.
And we're back.
My partner and I have been researching love languages. Mine is quality time and hers is physical touch. She's very busy at her job at the gem mill and she spends a lot of time with her coworkers and comes home exhausted. I'm more than happy to give back rubs and cuddle, but she falls asleep on the slab before we can spend any time together. Our weekends are normally spent doing chores like sweeping the cave and doing maintenance on the Stonemobile, and we have little time to just be with each other. How can we find ways to spend our time together with her busy schedule? And this is from Cuddler in the Cretaceous.
Oh, we've had this problem before.
You know what I say? The best kind of cation is always communication.
Communication. That's right, Fred. We have a similar issue. Fred's always working in the.
I work down at the quarry. You know.
We're both fairly busy now. Now we got the show and the cereal and yeah.
And Bonnie has become a stay-at-home father to take care of Bam Bam, and he retired from the quarry. But I come home after working my Brontosaurus crane. That's the one.
Yeah. I remember those days. But we still try to make time. Here's what I would suggest. Your preferred quality time is spending time together, quality touch. Maybe you guys go out for a couples massage. It's all about scheduling time to be together. You have to make sure that your schedules, it's just as important as your job, right? That's the most important thing. So schedule that time. Make sure it's as important to them as it is to you, and you guys make sure you put it right together.
I completely agree. Now, Wilma, I think during our marriage, our best kind of communication fell under the weather a few times. And if there's one thing that you and I can sort of discuss now freely, is that our love languages were completely different. Completely.
Absolutely. And that's not to say that folks with different love languages can't get along. I mean, that's part of what makes relationships beautiful,
Yes,
that you're able to compromise and be able to, you're able to accommodate everybody's love languages.
We did not, but that was due to other issues.
True.
Well, so like, Fred, your love language is gift giving, which is great. But mine is physical touch, and you can understand the problems there. So, sometimes it doesn't quite work, and that's fine. But I think if you and your partner really dedicated to each other, then maybe suggest taking a day off. Maybe go on a little vacation.
That's another one. Another great-cation is a vacation.
Exactly.
Maybe head to Rock Vegas. Who knows?
Ooh, Rock Vegas. We haven't been in a minute there.
It's been quite some time since we went to Rock Vegas. Bonnie, you were Rick Moranis.
I was. I remember that truly. Let's play a little get together. It's been a minute since we've done the full cross family sort of vacation thing. Let's get something together.
I'll have to run that by Betty, but we'll see.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
All right. So this is from listener Messiah in the Mesozoic. My husband has been spending a lot of time with his buddies at the bowling alley. One of his bowling pals has been expressing the belief in this new sort of figure called Jesus Christ. And it seems like my husband has been spending a lot of time with this friend, spending his Sundays on his day off going to this church, I guess. And he is talking a lot more about the salvation of his soul. And it's worrying me a little bit because I'm not quite sure. He's talking about this religion, and I'm not quite sure what it means. So how do I try to understand, what steps do I take to better understand what he's...
Now, Wilma, I didn't see this one on our list here. Are you asking for some advice for us? For a special someone in your life?
No. Well, no. No.
Wilma, don't kid yourself. I know Bobby's been down with Jesus and all of his 12 buddies down at the bowling alley.
Yeah, it's a heavy posse over there, but they seem like a nice couple of folks. I saw the one thing they did, the magic trick with the bread and the fish. That was a party pleaser.
Yeah, but like this whole like Jesus thing, it's kind of throwing me off. I don't know if
You know,
this is
as kind as they are, the type of stuff that they're preaching, I can't see it going wrong or violent or bad or discriminating against anyone ever. I can't see it be bad.
It seems like a lot of messages about love and acceptance and treating neighbors as neighbors, making sure your mammoth's not pooping on their lawn.
Seems like it would be perfect for our new modern lifestyle.
Modern Stone Age. There is absolutely nothing possibly problematic with this sort of upcoming here.
And there never will be.
Well, as long as you think so.
I think, listen, Wilma, we both love you dearly. And I think that, you know, as long as you're happy and as long as this doesn't turn into some sort of radical thing like Scientology, I think we're perfectly fine.
All right. Well, if you think so.
I was listening to the Count Chocula podcast recently, and I heard some really disturbing stuff about old William Penn.
Yeah, as long as, you know, this Jesus guy is all cool and hanging
Now,
out.
that's a man, Tom Cruise.
He is a hunky guy, but I don't know if I agree with some of his stuff.
His Xenoflakes are great, though.
The Xenoflakes are almost as good as my Bam Bam's Cocoa Pebbles.
Almost, not quite, though, Bonnie.
Almost, not quite, Bam Bam, if you're listening. Not quite. Well, that brings us to the end of another great episode of the Modern Stone Age family. Make sure to rate us on your rock players. We always love those boosts to the old RSS. And then, Fred, what does RSS stand for again?
As you know, RSS stands for Rock Super Supplement
Oh,
Store.
that's right. It was Rockstone Steven. That's why we take the rocks of the MP3s, which we don't need to go into that. Everybody knows what MP3 is. And then you take him and you chuck him at Rockstone Steven, and he takes them and he chucks them all over to all the rock players.
Personal 3 velociraptors that fetch me the podcast.
Be careful with those velociraptors, Fred. I always tell you, you gotta be careful with those velociraptors.
Make sure to use that Dino VPN.
They will steal your identity. To be frank, for a minute, I had all of my rock cards stolen, and they got my social security
It was an
rock
absolute mess.
number.
As always, thank you again for listening to another episode of the Modern Stone Age family. Please rate us, and as always, as we say at the end of every episode,
Yabba do. Listen to your partner.
and would you look at that, another podcast made by the podcast trio. As always, if you could rate the show 5 stars on iTunes, it would really help with the show. We're trying to get this to as many people as we can. Also, feel free to cut TikTok clips and stuff if you want to. I know we put our own up, but feel free, have at it. I don't care. As always, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and all the socials at PPPcast. And you can find more about our show at website.biz. We're going to update some stuff soon, so keep your eyes out for that. As always, report your friends to our email at email at website.biz. We'll be back to you on Friday with the feed drop for Modern Stone Age family. And I'll see you guys on Monday for another full episode. Thanks so much for listening.